Holy smokes. Wasn't that great? Like, what am I doing up here, right? Thanks, man. Anyways, I love LA. My name's Wes, and man, my wife and I, we love LA. We really do. And I love like coffee at like a cool coffee bar in the morning, like on the weekends. I love doing like brunch at like one of the great hotels or great coffee spots. You know what I'm talking about. You meet with your friends. It's always like a 35-minute wait. They tell you it's 15, but you really know it's 35. You know, and I love all kinds of things about LA. I love that we know 99% of the time what the traffic is not gonna be like. But we do know what the weather's gonna be like, you know what I mean? It's always like, you know, layers are never an option really. And, but if there's one thing I would change, maybe it would be traffic, maybe, right? If you ever try to like go somewhere, like you ever driven down Sunset on a Friday, trying to get somewhere on time, trying to stay like a sane person, or have you ever driven on like the 405 like ever in your life? Like ever. And if you're like me, I'm pretty normal. I'm just a regular guy. And then sometimes I find myself in those situations, like almost losing it on a complete stranger. Am I the only one that's ever done that? Like they're on their phone, God knows what they're doing. You know, they're going through their Instagram feed and I'm like swerving around it. And have you ever like honked at someone? Am I the only one? Have you ever like honked at somebody? It wasn't like the quick honk. It was like beep. It was like the one that's elongated. That's like, you do the translation, okay? It was like, meh, like that. There's nothing worse though than when you honk at someone and you let them know. You don't do the little beep beep, like you just let them know and then you pull up next to them at the next light. And it's like, you know, you pretend like you're busy or something like that. You're doing anything else, like, oh yeah, I'm just making calls that are important, you know, I let my neck hurts. I can't turn it to the left. It only goes that way. Can't go that way. Sorry, I'd say sorry or something. But, you know, you kind of look at them and it's like, it's always embarrassing because you're like, I'm on my way to like serve at church. Be like a greeter and tell people that God loves them or something, you know? Like I'm on my way to go help and to serve and to do these things. And, it's in those moments or something like that, maybe it's not as, you know, silly as something in traffic, but it's in those moments where maybe you're like me and you go, man, I really need to love people. Really need to love people. And so, you know, we come up with things, we come up with little things. Maybe you're a list person, you come up with a list and you're like, okay, 10 things I'm gonna do this week to love people. Or you're artistic and you go to the flea market down the street and you battle through traffic over there and you get a journal and you're like, man, I'm gonna journal every week I'm gonna write about loving people. Or you're an inspirational person, you're like, I'm gonna take photos of sunsets and I'm gonna put inspirational things over the top of them and I'm gonna post them on Instagram and social media outlets and it's going to inspire people to do that more. And then like weeks later go by and the list is still unchecked. The journal is unscathed. And you realize that everyone's doing photos of sunsets. If we were to look at the greatest act of love of all time, perfect God sending his sinless son down for people like you and me, it was not based on a list or a journal or a sunset. It was based on the fact that God so loved you and me. The Bible even takes it a step further, 1 John 4, saying that God is love. So I would propose to you today that it's not the lists that makes love happen. It's not the journal entries that makes love happen. And it's not inspirational photographs that makes love happen. Love happens when it comes from who we really are. If you want your outside world to look more loving, you better take a look at the inside world. And say, God, there's this area in me that I don't like. And instead of making a list out of it, instead of making some kind of to-do list or a journal entry or something inspirational about that inside area, we take it to God who is love and say, God, this area, you are the only one who can make it right. God, you're the only one that can take this area and make it more like you. If you want to see love in your outside world, in your actions, ask God for help to see it in your inside world.